Hello everyone, welcome you all to a new session of my YouTube channel. In this session, we are going to discuss the class 6 geography and it's the first lesson. And the name of our lesson is the Earth and the Solar System. And in this chapter, the key points which we are going to discuss are universe, nebula, stars, constellations, galaxy, planets, the sun and its importance, and then we are going to study about different planets of our solar system in detail, and then we are going to study about other celestial bodies like the moon, which is a satellite, then asteroids, then meteoroids and comets. So without any delay, let's start the chapter. So as our heading is the Earth and the solar system. So what do we mean of the Earth? As everyone knows that Earth is a planet. Next we are going to study about solar system. So the term solar means sun and the system defines the family. Or simply we can say solar system means sun's family. And here we will be studying about different planets, their satellites, their orbits and other asteroids, meteoroids or comets like celestial bodies. So let's start the first key point. That's our universe. So what's a universe actually? Universe, generally there is a misunderstanding in the minds of some students that universe means what? Universe comprises of the sun and the other planets, that's all. But universe does not comprises the sun and other planets, but universe comprises everything that we see around us, everything. That may be our house, that may be a chair inside our house, that may be the sun, that may be the other planets, everything which we can see are called or are referred to as universe. Then we will be studying about nebula. So what is a nebula? Nebula is a very huge mass of gas and dust. Nebula comprises of very huge mass of gas as well as dust. And nebula is something, or nebula is a huge mass which creates other celestial bodies like our stars, asteroids, meteoroids, comets, etc. That's why nebula is also known as the mother of all stars and celestial bodies. Nebula is known as the mother of all stars as well as the celestial bodies. Celestial bodies refers to everything that's present in our solar system actually. That's our sun, that's our planets, that may be our asteroids, that may be our comets, that may be our meteoroids, etc. So let's see in the front that there is a heading, the sun and the stars. So here there are some introduction about the sun and the stars. So let's have a look at that. Sun is what? Sun is a star, as I have said you previously, and it's just not the star, but it is the closest star to the earth. And if we will be studying about the sun more, then everything is having a age period. Like a human being first born as a baby, then it grows to young, then it turns into the old, right? Similarly, the stars or the celestial bodies are also having a age period. At the starting, they are filled with huge masses of dust, gases, huge temperature, and huge heat, etc., etc. But as they grow old, what happens? The amount of hot gases like hydrogen and helium ends up or finishes. Then what happens? They burst off and they formed as a black hole, or they became a black hole. You might have heard the term black hole. So what's a black hole? When the time period of a celestial body finishes, mainly star, when a star gets older and its amount of hot gases finishes, it bursts out and it contains some magnetic properties. Magnetic property means what? It can attract everything that comes towards it. That's called a black hole. And black hole, it's black in color, that's why it's known as black hole. And as I have said you previously that sun comprises of many hot gases like hydrogen and helium. And if we are to talk about the temperature at sun, then it's about 6000 degrees Celsius. And if we are to talk about the largest star and the smallest star in the solar system, then the largest star can be 10 times larger than the diameter of the sun. And if we are to talk about the smallest star, then it would be like a Jupiter planet. And if we are to talk about the coolest star and hottest star in the solar system, then the temperature of the coolest star would be 500 degrees Celsius and the temperature of the hottest star would be 90,000 degrees Celsius. So now let's have a brief description about star. So star means what? Stars are also huge masses of burning gases. All stars contains gases like our sun. Sun contains mainly hydrogen and helium gases. Let's see about constellations. We are going stepwise, right? First we studied about stars. Next we are going to study about constellations. Constellations means what? It's the combination of stars. Let's see some examples. Some examples of constellations are the Ursa Major, then is our Cassiopeia, then is our the Orion's Belt, then is our Ursa Minor. So let me give you some introduction about the Ursa Major actually. Ursa Major in Hindi it's known as Saptarsi. Saptarsi means what? Sapta plus Risi, or in English it's known as seven sages. And Ursa Major or Saptarsi it consists of seven stars, and there are also the names of seven stars as the names of seven sages. Means the seven stars are named with respect to the names of some famous seven sages. That's why it's also known as Saptarsi, or we can say seven sages. Next, we are going to study about galaxy. So what's a galaxy actually? Galaxy comprises of some constellations as well as some other stars. Galaxy is the combination of constellation as well as some other stars. And what are some examples of galaxy? As we all know that there is a galaxy in our universe which is known to everyone. That's our Milky Way, or in English it's known as Akash Ganga. Next, we are going to study about planets. So what are the planets? Planets are also one type of celestial bodies. They are solid in nature and they revolve around a star, and their revolving path is known as the orbit. And if anybody asks you that what's the shape of the orbit, generally it is termed as to be circular, but it's actually not a circular path, but it is a little bit elongated or elliptical, right? And then one more fact about planets, that planets are of many sizes. All the planets are not of same size, and they don't have their own light as well as heat, but they can reflect the light of other stars around which they revolve. Planets are not only the celestial bodies, there are also some other celestial bodies like our moons, or we can say satellites. Next are our asteroids, meteoroids as well as comets. Let's start about solar system. Solar means what? Sun. System means what? Family. So now we are going to study about Sun's family. And the Sun's family comprises of planets and other natural objects moving around it, like our planets as well as the asteroids, meteoroids, comets, etc. Let's see about the Sun. The Sun is the closest star to our Earth, and its diameter is about 13 lakh kilometers, and its diameter is about 100 times that of the Earth. And if we are to talk about the volume of the Sun, it's about 100,000 times that of our Earth. And if we are to talk about the temperature of the Sun, then it's about 6,000 degrees Celsius. And if we are to talk about the distance between the Sun and the Earth, then it's about 150 million kilometers. And one more fact I have forgot to tell you about the Sun, that the Sun has already crossed its half age, and it will be also destroyed after 500 million years. Let's see about planets of our solar system. Our solar system comprises of different types of planets. So let's see the first planet. That's our Mercury. It is the closest planet to the Sun. It doesn't have any satellite. Mercury is the planet which doesn't have any satellite, and it's having the smallest orbit, and it takes about 88 days to complete one revolution around the Sun. However, it takes 59 days to rotate around its own axis. Here you can see the image of the planet Mercury. Next, move towards the planet Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun. So first tell me the sequence of the planets from the Sun. So the first one is our Mercury, second one is our Venus, third one is our Earth, fourth one is our Mars, fifth one is our Jupiter, sixth is our Saturn, then is our Uranus, and last one is our Neptune. However, there was also another planet which was named as Pluto, but now it is not regarded as a planet. Why? Because of its huge distance. Because of its huge distance, scientists didn't record it as a planet nowadays. Let's see about the second planet, that's our Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun. It's also known as the twin of the Earth because its size is nearly identical to the Earth. As the size of the Venus is similar or equal to the size of the Earth, that's why it is also known as the twin of the Earth. And it is visible in the sky during the early morning as well as in the early evening. That's why it's also known as the morning star or the evening star. And similarly, like Mercury, it is also having no satellite. It takes about 255 days to complete one revolution around the Sun, and it takes 243 days to rotate around its own axis. So let's see about Earth, which is our planet, right? It is the third planet from the Sun. It takes 365 1/4 days to complete one revolution. 365 will 1 by 4 days means what? It can be counted as 366 days to complete one revolution around the sun. And it is also called the blue planet. It's regarded as the blue planet because if you see the Earth from high above the sky, it looks completely blue. Why? Because it comprises of one third, or we can say third fourth of seas, or we can say that our planet comprises of seas, which is about 3 by 4% of it, and it's having one satellite, that's our moon, and the Earth rotates on its axis in one day. However, Earth's shape is considered as a spherical shape, but it is like a slightly flattened ball, and it's slightly bulging in the middle and slightly flat at the top and the bottom. That's why the shape of the Earth is known as geoid. Geoid means what? It's not completely spherical. It's a little bulging type, and it's little flattened at the top as well as at the bottom. And it's take about 24 hours to rotate around its own axis. It also keeps revolving around the sun in an anti-clockwise direction. And let's tell me about some interesting facts about Earth. That's a unique planet, right? Earth is the only planet in the solar system where it is known that life exists. And we are the life, right? It has water, land, and air. How lucky we are that in our planet we are having sufficient amount of water, land, and air. Next, and Earth is the only planet in the solar system where life can sustain, as it is not too cold and not too hot. And Earth is the only planet in the solar system where we can find the presence of different types of gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen, etc. Let's see about the next, that's our Mars. Mars, this is the fourth planet from the Sun, and it's also called red planet due to the large presence of red oxides in its soil. It revolves around the Sun in 687 days. However, it is having two satellites, and it keeps revolving around its own axis. Next, see about our another planet, that's our Jupiter. If we are to talk about Jupiter, it is the fifth planet from the Sun, and it is the largest planet of our solar system. It revolves around the Sun in 11 years and 11 months, but its own rotational speed is the fastest. It rotates one complete rotation in 9 hours 56 minutes, or nearly 10 hours, and it is having 16 satellites or moons revolving around it. Got it? So Jupiter consists of many interesting facts. First fact is that it is the largest planet of our solar system, and it is the only planet which takes very less time to revolve around its own axis, and the time period is about 10 hours only. Next, see about the another planet, that's our Saturn. This is the sixth planet from the Sun and is the second largest planet. Our first largest planet is our Jupiter, and the second largest planet is our Saturn. And it has rings around it, and this makes it one of the distinct and beautiful planet of the solar system. Oh, that's beautiful. Means Saturn is the beauty queen of the solar system. It's having different types of rings, which may be gifted to it by his boyfriends. Such an interesting planet. The rings are made of dust, rock, and ice. It revolves around the sun in 29 years and 5 months. It takes huge time, right? It takes 29 years and 5 months to revolve around the sun. However, it takes only 10 hours and 40 minutes to revolve around its own axis. And it has over 30 satellites or moons. Next, see about Uranus. This is the seventh planet from the Sun. It is the third largest planet of the solar system. It also has a ring around it, but Saturn had huge amount of rings or large amount of rings, but it's having a single ring only. It orbits around the Sun in 84 years, OMG. On its axis, it rotates in 17 hours and 14 minutes. It has 17 satellites or moons revolving around it. So let's see about the another planet, that is our Neptune. This is the eighth and the farthest planet of the solar system, or you can say farthest planet. It is the fourth largest planet. This also appears blue. It is not due to the presence of water, but due to the presence of methane gas in its atmosphere. It revolves around the sun in 164 years. However, it takes about 16 hours and 7 minutes to rotate around its own axis, and it is having about 8 satellites or moons around it. That's all about our Neptune. Next, we are going to talk about the other celestial bodies. And the first celestial bodies among them is the moon. The moon is also a type of satellite, or we can say only one satellite of our Earth. These are the satellites of our planet or our planet Earth, and each revolves around the planet in its own orbit and continue to do so, while a planet revolves around the sun. Means what actually? As a planet revolves around the sun in its own orbit, similarly, the satellites also revolve around the Earth in its own orbit. However, some unfortunate planets are there, like Mercury and Venus. These are not having any type of satellites, or we shall say it. Let's see about the moon of the Earth. The moon is the only natural satellite of our Earth, and it has a diameter which is nearly about 1/4 of the Earth's diameter, and it appears very big or large as it is much closer to our Earth than the Sun, and it's about 3,084,000 kilometers from the Earth. However, the Sun is about 150 million kilometers from the Earth, and it takes about 27 days and 8 hours to rotate around our planet Earth, and it takes the same time, that is about 27 days and 8 hours, to rotate around its own axis. And if we are to talk about the life on the moon, then the life is not possible at the moon because it doesn't have any atmosphere as well as water. And there are no clouds, no rains, no winds, etc. As it doesn't have any atmosphere, so can you think that can we talk on the moon? No, we cannot talk on the moon because the sound needs a medium to travel, and in our moon or in our satellite moon there is no atmosphere is present through which the sound can travel. Thus, we cannot hear or we cannot talk on our satellite moon. Next, we are going to study about the other celestial bodies like asteroids. And asteroids are small rocky bodies moving around the sun and also between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Scientists believe that the asteroids are the remains of planets which exploded many years back. So, as I had already said you that planets, or we can say any celestial bodies or any stars, when their age is over, or we can say when they get older, they burst out. And when they burst out, they what? They break down into little bodies, or we can say they are break down into some rocks type particles. And asteroids are that path. Next, we are going to study about meteoroids. So, what are the meteoroids actually? These are small rocky pieces which float freely around the sun in its outer space. These are small rocky pieces which float freely around the sun in its outer space. Sometimes they come closer to the Earth's surface, even sometimes they enter into the Earth's atmosphere. But when they reach to the Earth's when they reach to the Earth's ground, because of the friction between them and the atmosphere, they burn out and only their ashes reach to the Earth's ground. That's all. Let's see about the comet. Comets are visible at rare occasion from the Earth. These are also a type of asteroid, but far away in the space beyond the planets. They have a long shining tail, which is formed by the clumps of ice gases and dust. Example of a comet is Halley's Comet, is one such comet which was seen in 1986 and which will be visible after 76 years. In India, it is also known as Puchhal Tara, or a star with a tail, and it would be visible again in 2062. So let's wait for that star again, not a star but a comet, Puchhal Tara, right? So let's wait for Puchhal Tara after 2062 where it will be visible again, right? So here I am having some questions for you. I hope, let's see, you will be able to solve it. So let's please try whether you are able to solve it or not. Tell me, light from the sun reaches the earth in decimals, or simply, how many times does the light of the sun takes to reach the earth? And your correct answer is 8 minutes. Which planet is closest to the Sun? So tell me, your options are Venus, Mercury, Earth, and Jupiter. So the correct answer is Mercury. The planet, which is also known as the morning or evening star, is what? That's our Venus. Next, the planet which doesn't have any satellite is Mercury. The planets which rotate on their axis from east to west are Venus and Uranus. However, remember a point that Earth revolves around its axis from west to east. Moon rotates around the Earth in how many times? It's your task, guys. You have to tell me in the comment section that Moon rotates around the Earth in how many days and how many hours. Halley's Comet was seen in feature in 1986. Next, some fill in the blanks. Nebula is a very huge mass of what? Hot gases and dust. Ursa Major is also known as Seven Sages or Saptarshi. Milky Way is also called Akashganga. Thank you so much, guys, for listening our session. I hope there are also some other questions, but I don't want to make this video long by discussing those questions. If you are able to solve them, then please solve them and write the answers in the comment section below. Thank you.